Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today for another Throwback Thursday. And Bray Herd, congratulations. You got five firsts. Yeah, five firsts this week. I had to count for a moment to make sure because I was like, no, wait. Oh, technology, it's our friend. I blame technology for your extra first, but nonetheless, congratulations on your first and good to see you, Shadow Vision. Hope you're having a good day. Now, I am personally excited because A, this weekend I'm going to GothCon. It'll be really fun to meet folks in person. But B, my prologue of Orid arrived today. I'm so happy. I'm such a nerd. This is a collection of the lives of the saints used in the Eastern tradition. I'm not going to do this like every day, but I thought it would be cool to share today since I just got it. So today is October 17th, and there's always like the saints of the day, a little bit of a description of them, then a prayer and contemplation, and sometimes a homily from one of the saints. So today, the first saint is actually the holy prophet Hosea. Then there's the martyrs Cosmas and Damian, the holy unmercenary and their brothers, the venerable martyr Andrew of Crete, and then Saint Lazarus, 4 days dead, Bishop of Kition on Cyprus. So happy feast day to St. Lazarus to those in the East. Let's see. Then also listed is, without a description, is Martyr Queen Shushanik or Susanna of Georgia, Martyrs Ethelred and Ethelbert, Princes of Kent, Saint Anthony, founder of Likonov Monastery in Novgorod, Saint Joseph the Wonder Worker, Catholicos of Georgia, new monk martyrs Jacinthus and Callistus of Saint Nicholas Monastery. I don't know how to pronounce that next word. New hieromartyr Alexander, Archbishop of Semiplotsnik, and Saint Peres Seva, Fool for Christ. I love a good Fool for Christ. So I'm looking forward to this as just like some spiritual reading for me. And this is one of 2 volumes. So, all holy men and women, saints of God, pray for us. Just got back to my desk with speakers that list saints sounds like what I checked last night. Well, that's because it's coming from the prologue of Orid. Let's go ahead. Let's dive back in some more Castlevania. Where is the sound? One moment. I swear I must be cursed. It's October and everything's going on. Yesterday, one of the saints that list checked on was Oka website. It was a particularly interesting one. Martyr Longinus the Centurion. Yeah, we stand Longinus in this household. I don't know what I changed, but it was enough, apparently. Okay, I do actually have the passwords. Because we made it through 6 levels last time. So we just finished the ballroom, so we're headed to the library. Not complete. Oh, I know what it is. We can't have a name. I forgot they generated the passwords based on your name. See, that time it worked. No, my money. Oh, look at those books wiggle. They must have bookworms. I think this is the dirtiest library I've ever seen of Dracula's. I'm in danger. I really could use some chicken. Ow! I know knowledge is a dangerous thing, but still! Also, I like that these wacky waving books are purely aesthetic. Whip it good. Hey, Mezzook, mine, good to see ya. Ow! Ow! You cheating jerk. Is that the Black Panther in the wall right there? It's kind of got like the necklace thing and the ears. Don't like how I'm getting stuck on the stairs. No, stay away from me. Invade my personal space. It's very hard to whip down. How goes the veiny castle? Please never put it like that. Belmont and MCU confirmed. I mean, they're willing to put him in just about anything else. Except, you know, a traditional Castlevania game. I agree, Bad Roxy. That phrasing has several implications that I don't like. And I am happy to report I did not have nightmares of being a man strapped in a bucket. Okay, we're actually going into this with a decent amount of health. I look forward to being able to just throw this all away. What did I say? Dodge like a champ. Gonna try to watch the rest of the VOD later. It's up on YouTube now, and YouTube, it should be fine. I call shenanigans. I should have been fine. I landed on the stairs. Come on. Yeah, it turns out, though, one of those songs is very heavily copyrighted still. You're not clipping all my falls today? Well, that's good. You missed, like, just after you left on the Minecraft stream, you missed a perfectly timed fall. Okay, this run's not going so hot. I like how even when he plunges to his death, he can only manage to grunt like he stubbed his toe. Oh, that we should all be so valiant when we die. Got stuck on the stairs. Simon just wanted to do some moonwalking instead. Don't mind me, just skipping pretty far down, actually. Okay, this is the one where I don't want to try and jump it. Oh, good, there's more! That is so cheap! That was at foot height. I could not have hit it. Oh, good. Now we've got levitating books. Oh, magic pixel. Okay, well, we got farther. No! What? How dare you learn how to use your spear? Okay, we made it here on our first life. That's an improvement. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore that other axe armor. Hey, we did it! We made it through 7-1! I know you can't see that because it's behind my face, but still. Excuse me, painting. It's very rude of you. That actually frightened me. That gave me a bit of a jump scare. I hit jump! I do not trust these spikes. Turns out it was the carpet I shouldn't have trusted. I actively disagree with what happened there. His hitbox is way too big. It's a chaotic heck dimension. You shouldn't trust anything. I expect my villain to play by some rules. He's Dracula. Our families have been dueling for centuries. You should surely have some integrity and honor. Did it scare you that time? No. The statue no longer startles me because I know to expect it. Okay. It's a lot of candles. Not going for these candles. Question for me and Chad, was the scariest portion of a game you played? These statues. No, man, Silent Hill 3 was really spooky to me. Like, just the everything. But particularly, like, there's one point, so like a common enemy are nurses, because they reuse some of the enemy types and symbolism from 2, but it makes sense because it's the daughter. But there's one point when you're fighting one and the nurse enemy just pulls out a gun. Oh right, bosses are a thing in this game. Oh, I don't have a sub-weapon. No one ever said you could do that before! Whew! Okay, we did it. Oh, hey, that was the boss. Like, that's the whole level. Let's go! Ah! Stage 8. Rebel 1. Yeah, if you're not expecting it, it's quite terrifying. But also the whole game is pretty trippy and scary. I don't really do a lot of horror in general. But I played that with my friend in college. Hotel mission of VTM Bloodlines. VTM. I mean, a lot of games use the subtitle Bloodlines, unfortunately, so that's not narrowing it down, but I feel like I should know what VTM stands for. Dracula must have all these giant knights on special dial or something. Hey, Bella's in my house again. Can you come over? What? Hard disagree, game. That hitbox is janky. Vampire the Masquerade. Ah, yes. If it were me, I just would not go to a vampire masquerade. It sounds like a great way to get unlived. You guys swiggity swoot on down here where I can hit ya? Every spike's like instant death! This is cheap, man! Like Zoink Scoob! And this is still just the first screen of this level. Wait. How am I supposed to get up here? Oh. Not like that. I don't even know if you can actually get on top of these. Let's test it. Or not. Oh Oh, my internet's acting all dumb today. That's fun. I wonder what's up with that. I'm not getting the appropriate output. Yeah, I've dropped almost a quarter of my frames since starting. The bitrate looks fine. The FPS is weird. It's 48. But the internet's fine. Like the speed is unfazed. I think it's a Twitch thing because my internet's totally fine. Everything on my computer's running fine. But yeah, because now it's saying my bitrate's fine, connection is excellent and stable. Still dropping frames. You know, I was experiencing this watching some other channels myself today, kind of just like occasional stuttering and stopping. So Twitch must be having some issues. And Twitch says everything is fine. And yet I'm still dropping frames. Oh, just don't move, Fivehead. Just don't move when I'm streaming and trying to play a video game. That's the solution. Okay, it looks like things are working again. I'm getting a good clear signal on OBS and not dropping frames. Sorry about that, folks. If you're watching the VOD, you can just skip past it. Okay, you can get on top of those, and that's what I'm going to have to do. The music skipped a beat there for a moment. I think it was the loop point, and it's probably just Maybe coded a little off. Yeah, I ran out of lives. Yeah, sorry, we ran out of lives and we had to restart this level. That's okay, though. We're terribly far in it anyway. Oh, you jerk. You blink at your mother with that eye? Okay, this is kind of tricky timing. Sure would be nice to have a sub-weapon like a cross or something. Oh, I'ma die. Woo! So how's everyone's weekend looking? Everyone got a good weekend coming up? I got a good weekend coming up. Busy weekend. Is it going to be a fun busy or a bad busy? That's right. Let's concentrate by considering the Bible. Joke's on you. I'm not considering the Bible today because it's a saint's day. It's Saint Ignatius of Antioch, who was actually potentially in Scripture according to tradition. There's some traditions saying he was the child who brought Jesus the 5 loaves and 2 fish. Other traditions say he was the child that Jesus placed in the midst of the apostles to say, hey, be like this child. But he was a bishop, died in the 2nd century, so very early church. Died of martyrdom. Bishop of Antioch, got sent to Rome to die. So he wrote letters along the way. I think it'll be a fun weekend, but right now I'm so tired, I'm not looking forward to it. Oh no! I hope you get some rest leading up to it. But he had great lines. He was very Eucharistic in understanding his own death. So, you know, for people who were like, oh, the early church wasn't that Eucharistic. Lies. Lies and slander. Here's a guy who died in, like, 110. Okay, so the water here is not instant death. The eyeball is. But he had a great line in his letter to the Romans, wherein he said, let the lions grind my bones to be the wheat for the Eucharist. Busy weekend for you too. I hope it's a good one. Let nothing be done without the bishop. Yep. So, had a lot to say on ecclesiology that impacted later church. Busy, trying to somehow cram work in an online convention. I hope you have fun at the Legend Havens convention. I wish I could have spoken at that, actually. But, oh well, can't do it all. Instead, I'll be at a Ren Fair tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Saturday. I keep thinking today's Friday. But I'm driving. Driving to Houston and back for a friend's Oktoberfest party. Ooh, sounds like fun. Whoop. Oh, Sub-Zero, thank you for the 300 bits. Distracting me. I'm getting hit by everything. Okay. What? Must have been sniped. Okay, let me get this spider so I don't... Okay, well, I'll take some damage, but... Today should be a Friday. You're right, Step-Zero. Instead, you're giving me Turkish pepper licorice. Turkish pepper. Pepper. Commence. Whoa! I know, right? At least I know what I'm in for this time. Oh dear, they've stuck together. I'm not going to eat one that's like 20 of these stuck together. That's a pretty sizable one. Whoa! Driving after Oktoberfest sounds dangerous. Yeah, I trust Beer Fox to be responsible. Spicy and the bitter of licorice is always an interesting combination. And I like both. And I don't necessarily dislike both together, but this stuff is also a lot. It's not as a lot as the licorice pastilles, though. Those are, whew. Get some hop teas for safe driving. There you go. See? Trusted you to be responsible. I'm getting reasonably faster at this section, at least. Oh, there's Roxy who said that. Yeah, I still trust Beer Fox. Chicken! I just need to get some Oktoberfest hop teas, period. Sadly, my Whole Foods does not tend to carry the limited time flavors. That spider is so irresponsible throwing its child at us. See? Responsible. Beer Fox is too much of an engineer to not be responsible. Oh, this guy just despawned. And back to deliveries. I'll try not to die a lot, but it is Castlevania. Dang it! I zigged when I should have zagged. Ironically, just after he leaves, I die. Whoa! Oh! Oh, there's a spicy peppercorn. It's like eating an entire pepper grinder. But in liquid form. Woo! Okay, okay, okay. We're doing okay. It was too slow. That was totally on me. Wait, does Step Zero think I'm trying to die? If Step Zero comes back, which no guarantee, I realize work is a reality, but if Step Zero comes back, everyone asks Step Zero if he thinks I'm trying to die. Which I know based on my gameplay, some might think that, so I really can't fault him, but I just want to check. Oh dear, this is so not going well. Check it. Why does this look like a boss? Nope, it's just trying to kill me. Secret wall chicken. Dracula's hiding a whole meal in there. Oh. I don't like what this looks like. We just got a full heal. This looks like an arena. Nope, it's just falling blocks. Just go. Go! No! Okay, the water doesn't kill you outright, but it is poisonous or something. So that's fun knowledge. Oh! That was interesting. I didn't expect it to explode into pieces. That hurt me. So close. Oh, hey, this is actually a new area. It's kind of hype. Whew, okay. We are surviving the dungeon. We were surviving the dungeon. It's been a while since we've seen invincibility oil. I thought there was clearance. I was wrong. Are these the coffins of other vampires that Dracula has felled? Is this his secret trophy room? I know an easy way through these spikes. Just ignore them. Hello? Oh, Frankenstein. I was wondering when we were going to show up. Oh, there's 2 of them! Oh, hey, Britt. Good to see you. You join us just as we defeat Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Frankenstein, I guess? He was kind of... He looked like Frankenstein's monster, but he was throwing potions like he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? I don't know. I don't know anymore. But we beat him. Well, this looks appropriately spooky. What do you mean the floor is caving in? Dracula, your castle's falling apart. You may want to speak to some masons about this one. Yeah, I know it's going to cost you some money from your treasury, but you know what? If you don't, your castle's going to fall in down on you. Aside from beating monsters, a little caffeinated today. Doing well. How about yourself? How are all the post-hurricane cleanup efforts going? Dr. Frank Jellystone. There you go. He works at Jellystone. This track is a bop. Slightly less stressed than yesterday at work. Still got a lot of tasks to finish, but you're in a better place. That's good. That is good to hear. Always better to be in a better place. Oh, I see the giveaway. There's a crack in the floor. Okay. A bunch of parishes have agreed to be donation sites. Hey, that's great to see. Oops. I did that intentionally. Since it's a new level and it was out of lives. These bats are so aggressive. Dive bombing straight for me. He just jumped and headbutted me. How rude. I can't seem to get on that platform enough. be able to keep going. There must be a way to get up there. Magic pixel of health. Let's go. I keep seeing these ghosts move, and my brain is going, oh, upwards movement. That's chat. So I keep looking at chat. I have trained my brain too well to pay attention to its periphery. We're gonna try. Well, I don't think this is gonna be the run because I have very little health, but I did find the way up there. It doesn't feel like it's the way I'm supposed to get up there, though, because the platform didn't fall out from underneath me. Now I get to mess with a bunch of HTML! Some of our sites refuse to be normal formatting. Oh, isn't that always a fun time? Manual HTML. That was my job as an intern at the USCCB. And I didn't know any HTML. They were just like, oh, you're young, here you go. Like, what? Thankfully, it's a lot of P and strong, but still. Yeah. But any amount of debugging and really any code is just always going to be like, in my opinion. It's like, oh! That's exactly like that. There's so many lines I'm deleting nonsense. Yeah, I could see that. We came to the realization recently we need to update the back end of our website because it's basically being held together by glue and prayers. There's a ring up there. Oh, if you go with the rings instead of falling down, you get all sorts of goodies. You cheated me. Need to code in more prayers? Yeah. It's hard though, because, you know, prayer is just like such an ancient form of coding. Like all the back end is really hard to decipher. Don't you dare, stupid skeleton! This one is just specific one that decided to glitch on formatting. Those are even more fun sometimes. There are the problem children. I whipped. And that guy despawned up there. I don't know how I keep doing that. I'm not complaining, mind you. Just more confused. I'm sure a speedrunner probably knows exactly how to despawn certain enemies. Good on them. Ah, I missed it. Yeah, you really only get one shot. Because you need to jump off that and do a diagonal whip at the right time. These gold skeletons are so obnoxious. I ask as ads appear. Oh no! Ask you because it's faster than Googling. Do you need /p? Okay, back from ads. Okay. So you remember how I said I knew almost nothing about HTML? I still barely know nothing about HTML, and that internship was almost a decade ago now. So based on the little knowledge I have, I would guess that yes, you should probably have something to, if you have the start of something like that, you should also have its corresponding end. No, I'm stuck in the black hole. Yeah, test it out. See what happens. You know, basically, cool. We're the blind leading the blind. Or as a song I like goes, it's the blonde leading the blind. It's a song against kind of celebrity culture. There we go. I'm like, there has to be an enemy somewhere! Same difference. Okay, so maybe we try to go up. Okay, so we'll get the Rotunda. Yeah, Ignatius of Antioch's a really cool dude. So it's our feast for him today, and he was early church bishop, 2nd century, like died 110 or so, like very early. Knew some of the apostles, most likely. And he has some really amazing statements of the nature of sacrifice and the Eucharist, especially understanding his own martyrdom, in a letter he wrote to the Romans. And also... Whip, go, 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 go. He had a line that's very core to ecclesiology: let the church do nothing without the bishop. So, cool dude. I'd like a candle to give me my second whip upgrade, please. Not money. Money is for score. High score is nice, but doesn't mean anything. Beating Dracula at 1,000,000 points is the same as beating Dracula at 0. Thank you for summoning Swoliel to help me. Why do you have a whip? I'm the one with a whip. This is cheating. He's patron of your own adult group. Hey, that's awesome. Wait, is this a mushroom? Yes. Because I hate mushrooms, and the running joke is that I use streaming as my platform to talk about how horrible mushrooms are. So I have a mushroom emote and a no mushroom emote. Money bat? Okay, that thing actually looks pretty sweet. Hitting it with the whip is tricky. So keep trying to do diagonals. And it sends off shrapnel every time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! They became little bats, but they still eject shrapnel. Eject shrapnel as big as they are. As well as they're pooping gold everywhere. Yeah. Sorry, I'll get back to chat as soon as I'm done, or if I die. No! Wait, I did it! I thought I died, but I did it! I need some wall chicken badly. Whew. Don't tell me this isn't the end of the level. Okay. Whew. Okay, we have 5 levels left. Probably not going to beat this today. That's okay. We got another week to do it. Oh, good. Clock tower. These are always fun. This is a sweet remix, though. Good troll job by the game me there. I think the troll job is the grammar of that sentence that I can't parse. Oh, that was close. Just jump off into oblivion! I mistyped game and added an extra me to the sentence. Ah! I bonked my head. First I thought it was the game. Nope. That was a me one. Whee! Look at the illusion of going in a circle. I'm doing worse every time. Hey, you fixed the webpage. That's great. Good job. GG. Oh, I forgot to take this one out. Oh well. Yeah, I'm really digging this remix. And imagine trying to play this game not knowing you can aim the whip up. It did need the /P. There you go. We all learned. But because I had a new paragraph each time, it didn't matter. It automatically added it. Ah, look at that. It's being helpful. I don't like when technology tries to be helpful. Like, I had to buy a new license for this PC. Because I was like, no, I've just updated the hardware. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, wait, no. This has already been used once to upgrade hardware. You can't use that same key. It's like, no, I didn't. Is there a save state for this game? No, this is an actual physical Super Nintendo. So if I game over, I get to restart the stage I'm on. And there are codes to restart at later levels. So I was able to keep going that way from last week's progress, but nope. No save stating here, unfortunately. That would be nice. There have been times. Whoa! I was not prepared for the giant runaway gear. Speaking of times, it would be nice to have a save state. Your PC doesn't have Windows activated. Yeah, I need it activated, and also it's good for security. Okay, so this time we know. Oh, there. It actually rolled by earlier. That's annoying. Good to know. I was hoping to keep my same keys. So when I did the upgrade, the initial upgrade, it was a total rebuild. Literally, the only thing I used previously was the case and the case fans. And for that, I first scrubbed the key. That barely clipped me! That's shenanigans! I call shenanigans. And it was fine with the reinstall. And I think it saw that as... But it read it as like a totally new PC. So, I don't know. So I just bought a key. Although I am thinking of switching to Linux entirely soon in the general span of my life. I mean, the Steam Deck is Linux-based, and if it can run on basically all the main games from Steam, you know, that's really the main reason I've stuck with Windows for so long is gaming convenience, but... I did an upgrade with this key. Ooh. Yeah, you'll probably need a new key. That jump is a little finicky. Fortunately, my initial run of the PC was fine. Like, I could still do certain things, but it would have certain features limited. And it also just said in the corner in a phantom image on the desktop constantly, please activate your Windows account. I don't know how much a key costs. It was like 130 or so. It was more than you really spent on top PC parts when you built yours. That's fair. But, like, I intentionally bought a physical copy so that I could move it around if I needed to. And then Windows decided, no, we want your money more anyway. Oh well. If that is one of the biggest struggles of my life today, I think I'm doing okay. Yeah, it's a bit of an oof, but it's not like... And I recognize the state of privilege I live in where, like, I don't have to worry about rent and groceries and gas. It's like surprise expenses are not fun, but less impactful on me. You know, if I'm driving and I get a flat tire and I need to buy new tires, it's like, okay. That is unfortunate and, you know, a pain. But I don't have to worry about it in terms of my budget. And I recognize that is a place of immense privilege in today's world. You interrupted my swing, you jerk! Of course, the trade-off... Because it's not just a, I get something. The trade-off is I don't have a lot of personal money. Whew. This is where I'd love to have a save state. Do a save state right after that, because I know there's more! Okay, if they fall next to you, they don't insta-kill you at least? I guess? If rent wasn't insane here, it would be so difficult. Yeah, exactly. 1,500 for a one-bedroom? Oy. Yeah, in the church... That is a valid criticism of working for the church. And I know it's complicated as someone who works for the church. Admittedly in a different way, but still. Like... You know, we preach about, just wages? Oh... Hey, Mithril. Many bones. Yeah, Dracula, I mean, I guess they're probably the bones of his victims. You know, he's upcycling. Sniped! Oh, man. Although, this is my last life, so I'm just gonna... Oops. Victim sucks dry. Yeah, but as I was saying... Getting paid better than I was teaching. Unfortunately, we also do not pay teachers well as a society. Yeah, there have been people who have validly criticized, like, look, you as church talk about living wages, and then you don't pay living wages. And it's like, okay, yes, fair, but also, church doesn't exactly have the money to do that. Music in these games is always fantastic. It is, and this is a really good remix. I have a friend here who teaches, and it's always interesting. Actually, I have two friends who teach here, one in a Catholic school, one in a public school. And it's always interesting just to hear which holiday the public school is on here in New York City. Because there are a lot of religious holidays. Fifth grade, your first year, fourth and fifth math science, fifth religion, your second year, and then fourth and fifth math science, your third year. I've heard that's a really fun age to teach. Because, like, they're a little bit older, and so they can get some more complicated stuff, but they're still childlike and haven't, you know, become teenagers. Came from a family of teachers, but didn't have to follow the steps, but sometimes I have to be a trainer at the office. I mean, yeah, and you know, and good on you in discerning what really fulfilled you in life, and not that necessarily like having followed the family business kind of thing. But like, you know, transferable skills are awesome. And definitely, you know, working in any office, have to be a trainer. Miss teaching religion, miss building relationships with kids, you don't miss the rest. That's fair. And you know what? It's entirely fine. It's a really tough age to teach? Oh, okay. I just do my best to try and not teach children. If I didn't have to wake up early, I might enjoy elementary school. No, I didn't really enjoy elementary school all that much. Too many bullies. I know you mean teaching. That just came to my mind and made me laugh. Oop. I don't think I really like teaching, but I hide it so well. Everybody thinks that I love it. No! Oh, we almost made it. Wait, Mithril, are you a teacher? See, I think I'd make a fine professor. I don't know. I'm not great with kids, in my opinion. I even preached about that a couple weeks ago. Because these days, in that age group, we're starting to be influenced by social media. Ooh, I didn't think about that portion. Yeah. Ooh. So much entitlement and attitude. Okay, so I knew a priest who worked at a parish in LA, and it had a school, and it was in a nice part of LA too. And one of the kids was altar serving at mass, and when they were done, this kid just threw their alb on the ground. And this priest said, "Aren't you gonna hang that up?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know how." "You don't know how to use a hanger?" "No, my maid does that sort of thing for me." It's like, what? I'm not, but as part of my job, I give trainings to employees. Ah. Sometimes training employees can either be a wonderful thing or an exercise in pulling teeth. I forgot about that! I want to get past this axe armor. No, not like that. Ah, dingoes have had kidneys. I made it past the first time, so I know it's possible. And that's perhaps the worst part. Is maybe it's a really tricky timing window, and I just got lucky, or really got there by accident, which would be me. Children under 80 years old should not be using social media. Fair. But teaching was 99% managing behavior, 1% teaching. Yeah, that I could see that sucking out all the joy of it. Oh, slow down. I'm standing in a bad spot. Dracula is quite the engineer. That or he just abducted all the engineers. But, you know, if you're going to have a giant evil castle, you may as well have a giant evil clock tower to go with it, right? Sucked out all the joy, but also doing that every day takes a toll on mental health. I can imagine. Ugh. Teacher, I live pregnant next holiday. Oy vey, yeah. But keep all those wheels spinning must not be cheap. I mean, we went through the treasury. You missed the treasury. I think Dracula's good for it with his piles of gold. What? I just fell through the stairs in the dumbest way possible. Ah, that was frustrating. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to teach iPad babies. Got the perfect shot off. Haha, I'll get on the other side of you. Can't knock me off the ledge that way. I swiggity, then I swooted. It's taken a long time to feel okay about the fact that I didn't stick with teaching, but I'm glad you did. Glad you quit. I am glad for your sake as well. It sounds like you made the right decision, and it doesn't sound like it was an easy one. But work is an important part of how we thrive. Work is not all we do. Work is not who we are, but, you know, it's an important element. No, I was trying to swing to land that way. Oh. It would have been perfect. Oops. It was my last life, so. Personally, all children, no matter the age, shouldn't be using social media. Yeah. I mean, it's wild, speaking as the generation when Facebook was still a you have to be invited by a friend to get in thing, and so it was very high school cliquey. And also still in the age when MySpace was a valid choice and was very much being targeted and advertised towards teenagers. What a wild world! And I'm sure it's had zero impact on us generationally. Yeah, MySpace. Sometimes you're not happy with how much time space. Yeah, and that is a perfectly valid thing to think and feel and to want to change and to change. So. That is a place I have not thought of in a long time. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than MySpace. Actually, that's not true. Yeah, customizable front pages with midis? Like a 4-second loop of your favorite Fallout Boy song? That was some peak 2006 right there. I never had a MySpace, actually, and I didn't even get a Facebook until 2016. Turned 14 right after MySpace died. I turned 30 soon. I am getting old. Tempus fugit. Another thing that solidified your choice to stop teaching was the fact that I can go home after work and not think about or do work anymore. Yeah, that is such a real part of teaching. And not in a good way. MySpace probably single-handedly inspired many millennial coder web dev. Probably. I never had a MySpace or Facebook account. There you go. You're probably doing better then. Man, it is so weird to see what Facebook has become in terms of like... Oh, shoot! I didn't... I slept off. My bad. But like all the AI-generated garbage. Like the random pictures of Jesus, but he's got a prosthetic leg and holding a sign saying it's my birthday. Facebook annoys me in the sense that so many people I'm friends with I never get to see posts from anymore. Yeah, the algorithm's terrible. Had to learn how to post things on Facebook when in a previous job. I was signed because you're the millennial, so you assumed you know how to do modern things. Yeah, oh, I barely dodged that somehow. Yes, I did forget about it. No, I will not be taking any questions about that. Yeah, I enjoy that I work in an office that is... One... The director is borderline baby boomer Gen X. But then everyone else is either millennial or Gen Z. No, 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 no! You went onto the wrong one! How dare you! Facebook also doesn't keep tabs on other apps because it keeps telling me I might know you. Weird. Oh, Facebook. There's a ton of data collecting going on. Yeah. Yeah. And, like, people have a right to know and be outraged when they don't know, but also at the same time, it's like, what did you think was happening? If it's free, it's not the product. You are. Those Google free ads, a ton of them, and data collecting. Exactly. I can't believe anyone would want my boring data. Ah, but then they can sell you advertisements. At least it's accurate. Well, there is that. Because generally the Facebook algorithm is garbage these days. Okay, okay, this is huge. As I moonwalk up the stairs to celebrate, apparently. Oh no, another one of these sections. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, why is there a white dragon? I used to have mutual Facebook friends with Pope Michael. God rest that unique individual. Oh, hold on, Britt. I promise to look at the bird. No! I was right there! I thought I was going to keep going up a little more. Okay, hold on. Burkadoo, do I have any thoughts, opinions about Insight's document that was sent out recently about Holy Days of Obligations? Yeah, that's in Illinois only, as far as I understand it. Well, only in certain parts of Illinois, too, because there's multiple dioceses there. That was Bishop Paparaki, right? It seems unnecessary. Like, I don't know. Pastorally, I don't think it's the right application of energy. And I am a huge fan of Mass, and people go into Mass. But Birdside applies to everyone. Does it? I'm not so sure it does. Like, I haven't seen anything clarifying it from the USCCB. And if it does, I still don't think that's a worthwhile... And I realized part of it was, like, a particular reading of canon law, and that's how it was clarified. But still, like, I don't know. So I'm going to wait for more official announcements before my final opinion, but yeah, like, I don't know, it feels like the wrong thing to focus on in terms of, like, how to get people to celebrate these days and go back to Mass. Yeah, Pope Michael was more reasonable and, like, decent as a human being. The Palma de Troy people are weird and really duplicitous, quite frankly. Like, especially the founder. So, you know, you shall know them by their fruits. Problem is, I can't really use my whip here because I'm going to wind up accidentally grabbing onto the rings. Okay, we finally made it to the second part of this level. Document is applying to everyone in the U.S. and calling for the attention to move the feast within the U.S. I mean, I will follow the rules, but still, it's just... It's weird. I don't know. Quit hitting me with your worm wrappings. Yeah, everything in Vampire Survivals is based on Castlevania. They're called blood skeletons. Because if you destroy them, they'll actually get back up after a while. Like that. A mummy? What a crossover. What do you mean you're starting over there this time? It's too short. I can't actually hit him. Yeah, no, basically everything in Vampire Survivors is a big love letter to Castlevania. And I love Vampire Survivors. It's great. It's so much fun. Oh, what time is it? How long have I been live? Oh, it's actually time to wrap up. Yeah, that'll be the last attempt for tonight, I'm afraid. Well, we'll pick up on the clock tower. We made some progress, but not a lot. But we'll keep doing this next time. But I only have 3 minutes left until I would normally wrap up anyway, so it's like, may as well just call it now. But anyway, so thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with you today. I hope you have a great weekend. Join me tomorrow night over on P. Tony's channel. Give me a moment. Imagine most people here know P. Tony's channel, but, you know, for the lurkers, I will be competing Game of Faves at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, Monday, will be Chrono Trigger. Tuesday will be Spiritfarer. Midweek Minecraft. And then Thursday will be more of this. Duh. We'll see how far we get. I have no idea. I have something else planned for the week after for Halloween, though. That'll be a fun surprise. We're going to have fun. So, yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in to Let Us Play. Thank you for everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, cheered, all that good jazz. Checked out the Discord, checked out the YouTube. And I hope you have a great weekend. And why don't we see who's live to raid into? Have a good rest of the day and sweet dreams from this side of the earth. Sleep well. Let us play. Maybe for April Fools, I should just hold up a head of lettuce. I'm going to send you over to Bearded Blevins. I don't think I've ever actually rated him before, but pretty cool dude. Good Catholic dad. Plays a lot of Fortnite. Fortnite's not my biggest cup of tea, but other people like him. I know Beer Fox is a fan. But yeah, so standard rate would be a lettuce controller. That would be great. Oh man, a custom painted lettuce controller. Yes. But anyway, raid call will be Father Raid as usual. Spam the meat morp if you got it. And I hope you've got have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless.